Hello, how are we today? Sorry, coffee time. Hey guys, so I had an idea. I thought today what I would do, this will be a bit of a two-parter, okay? So today I'm going to read you a story. Okay, a story that I wrote for this book, Total Quack Up, which was for Dimmick's Children's Charities, not last year, the year before. So I'm going to read you a short story that I wrote. And then what I'm going to do tomorrow is chat about how I wrote it. Because I used a particular kind of, mechanism, like a particular kind of formula for creating the story. So have a listen to it today. Enjoy story time if you want. Also, if you want to think about the writing side of it, have a think about perhaps what kind of tricks I might have used to come up with that story, and then I'll break that all down for you tomorrow. Okay? So for today, it's story time. And the story is What Hippopotamuses and Sharks Have in Common by me. Hippopotamuses are not allowed to go to the beach. You've probably never thought about that before. It's not like there's a sign at the beach saying no hippos allowed. You've never seen a security guard walking along the sand with a hippo poking stick. There's no big wall stopping the hippopotamuses. It wouldn't need to be a big wall. It's not like hippos can jump. So at first glance, it appears that there's nothing actually stopping hippopotamuses from going to the beach. And yet, you've never seen a hippo at the beach, have you? Well, there is a reason. Hippopotamuses understand that they are not allowed to go to the beach. They don't talk about it much, but when they sit around in their hippopotamus chess clubs or get into their swimmers at water polo practice, there's a general understanding that they are not welcome at the beach. They may not like it, and they certainly don't think it's fair, but in the interest of keeping the peace, they generally accept that they are not allowed at the beach. Except for one. Summer was a hippopotamus. She lived on the other side of town in a cute little house with a brick chimney, a healthy vegetable garden, and surprisingly good Wi-Fi. Summer was a curious and brave hippo who liked wearing combat boots and ballet tutus. Some people called her an individual. Some referred to her as a square peg in a round hole. Summer referred to herself as Summer. And Summer wanted to go to the beach. Into canvas bags she packed her snorkel, sand toys, beach umbrella, towel, underwater camera, goggles, headphones, zombie colouring book, beach ball, crayons, picnic lunch, pillow, sunglasses, boogie board, and her French knitting. It was possible that she was bringing too much stuff, but then she'd never been to the beach before, so how was she supposed to know? She hopped onto her bicycle and rode to the beach, becoming the first hippopotamus in history to challenge the rule. It's important to note that Summer wasn't trying to start a fight. She simply believed that things were unfair, and she intended to stand up for herself. Everyone should have the right to go to the beach. Summer wasn't sure what to expect when she arrived, but she was certainly surprised when she walked onto the sand and there was, in fact, a sign. Only the sign didn't have a picture of a hippopotamus on it. It had a picture of a shark. And the words, "Beach closed." Summer sighed and dropped her stuff. Her dreams of walking through a crowd of sunbathers in her bikini, wading into the waves and changing the world were suddenly dashed. Or were they? Beyond the chalkboard warning sign, resting alone on the water's edge, was the lifeguard's red dinghy. It gave Summer an idea. Summer loved sharks. Actually, she loved all animals. She was one, after all. She also liked finding the good in every situation. If there was a shark in the water, then that meant Summer had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see a real shark. She wobbled down the sand, threw her stuff into the water and pushed it out into the... threw her stuff into the boat and pushed it out into the water. "Hey, someone stop that hippo!" Summer heard a lifeguard shout. She jumped into the boat, pulled the cord on the outboard motor and putted out over the waves. Once she was past the breaking water and floating on top of the peaceful rolling sea of blue, she took a deep breath and realized that she had done it. She was at the beach. And even better, any minute now, she was going to look down from the safety of the boat and see a real-life shark. "That boat has a hole in it!" the lifeguard shouted from the sand. "Say what?" Summer looked back at the shirtless tanned man, waving his arms in the air. "It has a hole in it!" he yelled. "You're going to sink!" Summer looked down at the bottom of the dinghy. It was quickly filling with water. "Well, this sucks," she said to herself. "All my stuff is getting wet." Sure enough, her crayons were making a rainbow-coloured puddle at her feet, her French knitting was ruined, and her zombie colouring book was completely soggy. If anyone else had been in the boat that day, they probably would have started to feel rather depressed about the situation, but not Summer. Summer was a hippo who always looked for the good that might be hiding behind the bad. That's why she decided that this was a tremendous opportunity to go swimming with a real shark. She grabbed her snorkel, goggles and underwater camera and jumped overboard. Hippos are very good at swimming. That's why their water polo team is undefeated 3 years running. And as soon as Summer was underwater, she was amazed at the secret world beneath the ocean's surface. Summer could see rocks and seaweed and fish and blue bottles and single-use plastic bags and coral and crabs and Nemo and dolphins and the Titanic, but no sharks. Summer paddled around and started to wonder if this whole thing had been a hoax. Was it all a grand conspiracy to stop hippopotamuses from swimming at the beach? Just when Summer was starting to feel very cranky, she turned around and found there was a giant shark behind her bottom. "Ah!" she screamed. He had an enormous collection of teeth, about 1,000 of them, beady eyes and a huge fin on his back. He was so large that Summer was certain he was going to swallow her in one gulp. But then the shark held out his fin to shake. "Hello," he said. "My name is Wilbur. What's yours?" Now, conventional wisdom would suggest that you should try to get as far away from a shark as possible, or you will most probably get eaten. But Summer was always trying to make the best of things, and so at the very least she decided that she would be polite. "I'm Summer," she replied, and shook his fin. "I'm a hippopotamus." "I've never met a hippopotamus before," said Wilbur. "No, I'm sure you haven't," said Summer. "Hippos are not allowed to go to the beach." Wilbur the shark gasped. "Neither are sharks," he said. "What do you mean?" Summer asked, feeling very confused. "Sharks aren't allowed to go to the beach either," Wilbur explained. "Every time we come to the beach to play, everyone leaves. I've even heard they put up signs saying we're not allowed to visit. Sometimes they even try to scare us off. It's terribly unfair." Summer had never thought about this before. It seemed as though hippos and sharks had something in common. Neither of them were allowed to go to the beach. "Everyone thinks you're going to eat them," Summer explained. "But I'm a vegetarian," Wilbur said. "I've spent my whole life being misunderstood. I just want to come to the beach to play, like everyone else." Well, this is unexpected, thought Summer. She suddenly found herself feeling very sorry for a shark. After all, she knew what it felt like to be left out. Hippos and sharks were the same. Maybe I could help you, she said. Wilbur raised one hairless eyebrow in curiosity. I can go back and tell everyone that you don't eat people or hippos and that it's safe to come in and play with you. Would you really do that for me? Wilbur asked with a big toothy smile. You bet, said Summer. And if she had thumbs, she would have put them up. With all the passion and motivation that a hippo with a conscience could muster, Summer swam back to the shore. A crowd of people had gathered, presumably because they thought they were going to see, or more importantly film, a shark eating a hippo, and that this would get them lots of hits on YouTube. Instead, they watched as Summer rubbed out the beach closed writing on the chalkboard and replaced it with Shark Tours. Tickets, $5. Come and see Wilbur the shark, Summer announced to the crowd. Don't worry, he's promised he won't eat you. The next tour leaves in 3 minutes. Now, if she was honest, Summer had expected everyone to get very excited about this. After all, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to swim at the beach with a shark. Only instead of charging towards her to get in line, the crowd of people just shrugged and mumbled together. Typical, thought Summer. She rubbed out tickets $5 and wrote free instead. Okay, so now they were interested. Typical, thought Summer. Yes, she thought it twice. She gathered a group of 5 people and they stood on the water's edge so that she could explain the safety procedures. There are no safety procedures, Summer said. Wilbur the shark is perfectly harmless. He's a vegetarian and only wants to play. How can we be sure? Someone asked. Because I was just swimming with him, Summer said. Why should we believe you? Someone else asked. Summer threw her hippo arms in the air in frustration. She told them to wait there and then swam back into the water. She found Wilbur swimming around in circles and twiddling his fins. Where is everyone? He asked. They still think you're going to eat them, Summer explained. Did you tell them that I'm really friendly? Did you say that I only eat seaweed? Do they know that I'm super duper fun? Humans don't care about that stuff, Summer said. I have a better idea. Smile. She held up her underwater camera and took a photo of her and Wilbur. Humans care about great selfies, she said. And she was right. When she showed the crowd on the beach the amazing selfie she'd taken with a shark, and when they all started to imagine how great it would be for them to have a selfie with a shark, they stopped caring about whether or not it was safe and ran straight into the water. And of course, you know what happened, right? Wilbur the shark ate the ball. It was the best feed he'd had in a long time. In fact, he was still picking speedos out of his teeth 3 days later. Standing there on the beach, with her mouth hanging open. Summer realised that sharks and hippopotamuses are not the same after all. Sharks are liars. The end. Well, I hope you enjoyed story time today. As I said, tomorrow, watch the video tomorrow if you would like a bit of a breakdown, a bit of a kind of making of documentary as to how I wrote that story, because I used a particular trick over and over and over again. See if you can guess what it was. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow.